Our next caller is Morgan from Nebraska.
Morgan.
How you doing, Morgan?
What's
Good
happening?
morning.
How are you guys?
We're good.
Very good. How you doing?
How can we help you?
Yeah.
So I'm 5'6". I'm a college runner, which I know is kind of a cringy thing to say, but I run cross country in college, but I've always been into strength training as well. And I've finally gotten to the point where I feel like the outside of my legs, and my quads specifically, are finally getting a little bit of definition. But the inside of my legs, like, it seems like I can't ever feel any sort of growth or any sort of like stretch on the inside part of my quads. I have longer femurs, and so I know I've done a lot of work on my squat form to try to make sure I'm using my quads because I'm naturally like hamstring dominant. So I guess just like leg extensions, all of that stuff, I feel it more on the outside. And I'm just wondering if there's something I can do to kind of grow the inside of my legs and get more definition there, obviously.
Yeah, no, good, very good question. So, by the way, there's nothing cringy about being a college runner. That's awesome. Yeah. So, and now, what are the distances that you run? Give me an idea of what your practice and
are you still doing that, or are you done doing that?
This is my senior year, so I'm still doing it as of now. In cross country, we do a 6K, which is just between 3 and 4 miles. I did run a marathon in May, and so I came off of marathon training, but I usually I'm running about 30 to 40 miles a week. Okay.
Now, the reason why I'm asking this question is because when it comes to building muscle, it's going to be a bit counter to the kind of training that you're currently doing. Okay. And I'm going to say this. You sent some pictures in.
You look great.
You have great muscle for the kind of training that you do.
Yes.
I'm surprised you're not a sprinter or a strength athlete, because I think if you stopped running and did strength training,
you're going to look awesome.
You're going to build some serious
You're going to get your legs
muscle.
you want.
Were your parents athletes? Because you look like you have some muscle building genetics on you.
They were. My dad was a baseball player. My mom was a runner in high school. She didn't do anything in college, but I actually played softball most of my college career. And then I just switched to cross country kind of because of the team part of it. So I've been in the softball environment most of my life.
Yeah, because you look like you can build muscle pretty well.
Can I talk to you like if you were my little sister? If you were my little sister, this is what I would say to you. I'd say, continue doing what you're doing. You're kicking ass. Go kick ass at your sport. You got a year left of doing that. And trust me, you've got the physique to build these quads that you want to build.
Yeah, that's the key.
You're going to. Like, this is not you're missing a exercise, that you should be doing or manipulated a certain way. It's what Sal said. You're doing a sport that is not ideal for trying to build big muscular legs, and so it's kind of counter. And the minute you back off of that and you start to dedicate your training and diet to actually building muscle, you're going to, and you're going to get the legs that you want. And so right now, I'd say you're at a phase in your life right now where you have a sport you're good at and you love doing, and so enjoy it and continue kind of doing what you're doing. And then when you're ready to retire from running that much, and we want to really start to sculpt the body, you've got genetics to compete. I mean, you definitely.
Yeah, I would say, to be more specific, running 30 to 40 miles a week leaves very little room for any kind of like muscle building, strength training.
Yeah, that signal's not going to be there.
The strength training that I would do with someone like you, because I've trained a lot of runners, and 30 to 40 miles is about what my runners would do. Anywhere between 20 to 50, I would say, is what they would do. So, and you're in the kind of higher end of that. And I would have them strength train once a week. We would do like 3 exercises, compound lifts, and really it was to support their running. It was to maintain mobility, to prevent injury, to give them a little bit of strength. But you're not going to build a lot while running that much. Just not going to happen because it's too much all at once. Now, the reason why you still have muscle on your body is because you got really good muscle building genetics, and some people can do that. If I ran 30 to 40 miles, I would not have very much muscle on my body at all, but you seem to be able to maintain some of it. Once that you cut the running down, let's say you go 30, 40 down to 10 miles or 5 miles a week even, and then you just focused on strength training, you would see a radical transformation in your physique. Radical. But right now, while you're doing the running, what you probably want to do is maybe 1 day a week of strength training, maybe 3 compound lifts, 3 sets each. not super intense, but just go through the movement and see if you can get stronger week by week. Make sure you feed your body appropriately and properly. And then make sure you get really good sleep and rest, and then just stay at your sport.
Yeah, and I know, Morgan, that's probably not what you want to hear. I'm sure that you wanted to hear like what exercise
Like
can I give you
exercise.
to give you. But I would just remind you that you're probably for a 20-year-old runner that runs that much, one of the more muscular looking runners I've ever seen. So you've done a great, whatever you're doing a good job at that, and you probably do have some great genetics. And I would just say, like, hey, let's finish this year out on your sport. Have a great year. Let's put our energy towards that. And then, hey, if you really want to get crazy and body build and sculpt and build leg, I mean, you got it. You can do it.
So your workout with me, I'll give you a general idea of what the workouts would look like with my runners. Typically, it would look like some kind of a hip extension. Mm-hmm. So either a hip thrust or a deadlift of some variation. We would do some type of a split stance exercise like a lunge or a Bulgarian split stance squat, or even something that's single leg. And then we would do some kind of a core exercise. Now for upper body, I would sometimes throw in correctional exercise, and it typically looked like something that would pull the shoulders back to give them better posture while running. And that's typically what it would look like. And I would throw in other exercises here and there, but I wouldn't do like this big full body workout, because every time I did that, it would just take away from the performance. It was just too much. 30 to 40 miles a week is a lot on the body, and you start adding lots of strength training to that, and it's just you decrease everything.
Yeah, and I mean, and this isn't huge, but at the same time too, it's going to help your knee track a bit more effectively to add in lateral movement and get your lateral lunges, your Cossack squat. Just to throw that in there, even as a mobility day where we're just doing like active recovery and we're just making
like
sure
body weight.
Yeah, body weight. Like we're just making sure that, you know, everything is tracking and you're in good alignment, because you're so fixed in this one plane of motion like constantly. And if you're just training to reinforce that, you know, you're going to run into some issues later with the joints. So if you just add that in as a mobility practice, and some rotation in there as well, you're going to really help kind of support what you're doing.
Yeah. Morgan, how's your nutrition? Do you track anything?
Yeah. I was trying to, that's why like in my question, I sort of try to avoid this, but I am what your normal call is, where they overtrain and they focus on recovery enough. I'm getting better. I had an eating disorder in high school, and I've come a long ways. Put on 20 pounds and gotten better with food. I don't love meat, and so I've never been a meat eater. So I am mostly vegetarian, which helps because I get a lot of carbs, which fuel my running, but the protein is a lot more. Like I make sure I have a shake every day. I'm still hitting almost 150 grams every day. And so, but that is definitely something I'm still learning through listening to you guys, is not pushing it too far.
Yeah. How are you getting the 150? Like, what is that coming from if you're not eating meat?
So usually I have a shake after my runs in the morning, and then I do, like I have beans and a lot of lentils and some rice for lunch, chickpeas and stuff. And then I have, peanut butter, which isn't the greatest either, but nuts a lot. And then usually at night, like I do like a big yogurt bowl with Greek yogurt and cottage cheese and mix that all together. Are
you sure you're tracking? Because getting 150 grams of protein with what you said, you would have to eat a lot of the things that you said to hit that. So I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised if you hit 100 with that. But I'm going to give you some good news. The way you're eating and training with the amount of muscle you are gifted.
Yeah, you have a bodybuilder physique.
You are gifted with incredible like muscle sculpting genetics. At some point, you're going to tap into that, and you're going to be one of those people that, you know, you work out 3 days a week in the gym, lift, hit your protein targets, and you're just going to look like a statue. So yeah, that's remarkable. But I'm surprised. I'd be surprised if you hit 150 with what you said, because like beans, lentils, peanut butter, yogurt, like you have to eat a lot. Yeah. To get, you know, even with the 50-gram protein shake. But I would start tracking and try and hit 120 grams of protein a day, even with your shake. I think that would do.
I mean, Morgan,
well.
I would, if you're open to it, I'll put you in the private forum, and then I'd love for you to track a day of eating, like in a Fat Secret app or a, what's the other one that we?
track every day. And that's what mine
Wow.
said.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I mean, I'm open to sharing that with you, but I have tracked. That was sort of the start of my eating disorder, but now it's more on a healthy point of view where I'm trying to track protein stuff.
Okay.
And so that's what it says, but I'm not doubting that you guys probably know better.
No. If you're tracking, then that's it. Then it's all good.
So long as you're measuring correctly, right? So as long as you're doing the portion control right and everything like that, then you are. I mean,
you're doing good. You know, we have a program called MAPS Cardio. Now, I wouldn't have you follow the program because you're doing so much running. But in that program, 1 day a week is kind of a traditional strength training workout, and it's a very short one.
See, I was going to ask actually Justin about how he would modify Performance Advanced for her. Is there a way for you, how you see you would modify that?
Yeah, you could bring it down to 1 day a week.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Okay, well,
I think that's better.
Okay.
Yeah. I
Let's
like
send you a program so you have some programming that you can follow. And then with Performance Advanced, what would she do? Pick a workout?
Yeah,
just one workout.
Yeah, just one workout.
Pick one of the strength training
eliminate
workouts.
The other, strength training. And then, and like I said, there's some mobility practices like kind of built into there that you can reinforce, what you're doing to really support you. And I think that's like really important for ankles, knees, hips, everything else. So.
I'm gonna have Doug put you in the private forum too. I'd like to keep an eye on you and hear updates from you as you go through this journey. I think you're doing really good, and you got a really cool muscle building future ahead of you
for sure.
Well, yeah, because like right now I am just doing like a 5-day split, like kind of just the bro split.
On top of your running?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too much.
Way too much.
We'll bring that down. Your energy will go way up.
I cannot believe how much muscle development you have over training like that. That's you got a great bright future ahead of you with some of the stuff. But do the 1 day a week of Performance Advanced. You're actually going to build muscle.
Yeah.
You're going to build muscle going from a 5-day split down to that.
It's going to trip you out.
And if you need this, I have to be doing something every day deal. Mobility stuff. Like Justin's saying. The body weight, Cossack squats, things like that. Like do work like that to really support your running. And I think you will be more muscular and you'll perform better in your running. You'll get the best of both worlds.
Totally.
But at a 5-day body part split's too much for what you got going on right now. It's not necessary.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
And we're going to put you in the forum so we can keep an eye on you, Morgan. I want to hear your update.
Yeah. Give us updates.
All right. Awesome. Thank you guys for all that you do.
Thank you.
Right on. Thanks for calling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you could just every once in a while you get those.
She'd be jacked.
Yeah,
jacked.
If I did 5 days,
she's asking like for a little bit
she's
of
muscular in spite of what she's doing.
I mean, how often do you see a cross country runner that looks developed like that?
No.
Yeah, at 20.
No. Well, I knew
sure
it.
The softball I think helped.
Yeah, and I knew it too. Two parents that were athletes. But she's way overtrained.
Oh, did she say she played softball first?
Yeah. She did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but two parents that were athletes. She's got the genetics for it, and she's doing good in spite of how much she's beating herself up. 30 to 40 miles a week. I've trained so many runners and athletes like that. There's very little strength training you could do.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.